Live in the CNN Newsroom, Tony Harris and Heidi Collins.
Gas prices are on track to reach $4 a gallon across much of the country, but do you have to cram yourself into one of those tiny subcompact vehicles to save money? The car coach, Lauren Fix, joins us from New York in the newsroom. Lauren, great to see you.
Great to see you too, Tony.
Hey, Lauren, what's the story of these car shows around the country? I know a big one in New York starts. What is it, tomorrow, Lauren?
It starts tomorrow at noon.
You're going to be there?
I'll be there live right through Easter Sunday.
Great. Well, what is the story of these car shows? Is the story cars and not the SUVs and the trucks?
It's absolutely the cars, and there's a lot of fuel-efficient cars coming out, and everyone from Suzuki to Audi, everyone and anything in between are coming up with these great fuel-efficient cars. But at the other end, at the total end of the spectrum, are these amazing vehicles like the Lamborghini Murcielago and Aston Martins and the Corvette ZR1. It's really odd. It's two different spectrums.
Well, let's talk about because we're worried about inflation right now and trying to get as much as we can out of our vehicles and the price per gallon. Is the problem here with some of these small cars, particularly for the auto industry, that there isn't much profit in them for the automakers?
Well, the idea is obviously to get market share, and since the domestic manufacturers keep losing market share, they're doing the best they can to produce really quality cars. I mean, Ford has come out with the crossover utility vehicles with the Edge, and they've got the Ford Focus, and GM's really trying to push with the E85. I mean, everybody's pushing. Chrysler came out with the new Challenger. Everyone's trying to get great cars, but in reality, you look at the vehicles that are at the top of the fuel economy list, and they're the imports, although many of them are built here in the U.S., which is something that people forget about.
Well, you drive me to another question here. If you're a U.S. automaker and you're not sprinting to get more of these fuel-efficient cars on the market, are you not just behind the curve? You're way behind the curve?
Yeah, you're kind of way behind the curve. I mean, if people have their leases coming up, the first thing they're looking for is a more fuel-efficient vehicle. You know, who wants an SUV that's getting 8 miles to the gallon right now? You want to be looking at, it doesn't necessarily have to be a hybrid. You want to look at maybe a Honda Fit. Can we get our family into that? Will that work? You know, do I need a wagon? What options do I have?
Hey, do we have to compromise some sense of comfort for fuel efficiency?
No, actually, you don't have to anymore. I mean, you look at even a Toyota Yaris. There's a ton of room. I personally have a Mini Cooper. There's so much room in the back, I could put a big TV in the back if I had to.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah.
Well, explain to us as sort of the hybrids now and where we're going with hybrids. Are they making more sense economically? For so long now, it's felt like, well, you bought a hybrid, you were paying more for the car, and then maybe you recoup the gas down the road a few years. Is it making more sense now economically?
It does. It depends where you live in the country. My ruling on hybrids, it's a personal rule, is if you sit in traffic a lot and you're at 0 miles to the gallon, you know, New York, LA, Chicago, Baltimore, DC, and millions of cities, it makes sense to get a hybrid. However, you know, I live in Buffalo. We don't have rush hour traffic. So for me to sit at 0 miles to the gas, I'm never sitting in traffic unless I'm leaving a Sabres game. So it doesn't make sense. So there are other options. And that's why I always tell people, look at what's out there and what fits your need, because it's still going to take you a few years to recoup that additional cost. When you can buy some of the vehicles that are out there, you can get a Nissan Versa. It's getting 26 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
I mean, that's not too bad.
That's not bad.
And then there's diesel available in the top 5 states, New York, and of course California, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and New Hampshire. They didn't allow diesel cars for the longest time because they weren't clean burning enough. Well, now Audi's offering clean burning diesel. BMW and Mercedes, they're all coming with Blue Tech motors. So you're going to start seeing diesel cars, which get even better fuel economy. So there are other options.
Yeah, Lauren, take me back to hybrids for just a moment and talk to us about these plug-in hybrids and when do they start to come on the market, and what's the great advantage of those vehicles?
Well, we have to be careful when we say plug-in. Everyone thinks you plug it in the wall and you get your power, but there's no gas. But someone's got to pay for the electricity.
Exactly.
So there's a kind of a trade-off here.
That's a great point, yeah.
Right, so you've got that draw. When you look at plugging in, I know the Volt is something that they're really talking about bringing to market, and they did do some talking about that yesterday at General Motors. When you think about that, how much is it going to cost you? I guess it depends what electricity you're using and where you're getting it from. So it could cost you more than gasoline over the long haul. So, and of course, where you're going to plug it in when you're at work in the parking lot. You know.
Boy, you were so good on this. How long have you been working on cars? Someone just whispered in my ear that it was since you were 8 years old?
Yeah, my dad got me into cars. I've worked on cars. I'm an engineer and an ASE certified technician.
Okay, and you're going to be at the car show for the rest of the weekend, correct?
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
Hey, Lauren, great to see you. Thanks for your time.
Nice to see you too, Tony. Thanks.